Good evening. It is 5:15. It's time to begin our meeting. Let's start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Roll call will show that everyone is attending except for Councilman Kurtz. We'll move on to the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes of the July 28, 2025 meeting, approval of bills and claims, licenses and permits for new special Class C retail alcohol license for Be Kind LLC, new Class C retail alcohol license for Carroll Brewing, and renewal of Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for Jalisco. Employment contract, acceptance of the tobacco settlement agreements. Is there any discussion? A motion to approve.
So moved.
Tom, Jason seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Streck? Yes. Howard?
Yes.
Ordero?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Very good. We'll move on to oral requests and communications from the audience. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on any topics that are not on the agenda this evening?
I feel like we haven't heard from Scott in a while.
Not tonight? Pick a lock on Scott. All right. We'll move on to ordinances. The first ordinance is amending mayor and city council compensation. And Aaron.
Thank you, Mayor. After our discussion at the last council meeting, I added to the ordinance that would add for a $50 stipend or pay for each special council meeting. I did to make note that it did not include our normal budgetary meetings or our strategic planning meeting, which are pretty typical. We also took one meeting away in December, so there's only one meeting in December, so that kind of balances out a little bit to that extent. So the ordinance basically says any special council meeting outside of those meetings and any scheduled council meeting would constitute paying the mayor and council an extra $50 for those meetings.
I see, Carolyn, you had, is this a presentation from
Well,
you?
I just want to
Okay.
run through, after our meeting, I guess my goal was to look at the information on our council agenda and minutes and look at the time we're devoting to regular council sessions, special sessions, budget sessions, and the annual council planning session, and consider our compensation and see if it's reasonable. So I went, what you have here are 19 months, all of 24, and then January through July of this year. And I'm not going to read this to you. It's just repetitive stuff going through all the months in 24. I looked at, when I went to the agenda, I looked at, the start time, finish time, when we adjourned, and tabulated the total hours for the sessions. And you can see we had 2 meetings in January, there were 4 in February, and so on and so forth. But to cut to the chase, what I looked at is how many total hours in each month are we spending in these 4 types of situations. And I'll just use the one in January 24. The first meeting, regular session, 1.3 hours. Second meeting, regular session, 2.1. You come up with 3.4 hours. So I took our $200 monthly compensation, divided it by the 3.4 hours, and we were compensated for the month of January to the tune of $59 compensation per hour. And so on it continues. So February, we were compensated 8.2 hours, more meetings, 200 divided by 8.2, our compensation was 24 per hour, et cetera, et cetera. And then in italics and with the asterisks, I have our special sessions. How many did we have in 19 months? We had 9. And you can run through them, 4-2 of 24, 8-9 of 24, 8-14 of 24, and so on. We had 9, the hours devoted, and they're totaled in. So I totaled in regular sessions, special sessions, budget sessions, and annual council planning sessions. Putting all of those into the mix, I found out our compensation is quite reasonable, in my opinion, when if you turn to the 3rd page, what I did is I made a list of our compensation per hour for each month. And you can see our compensation for January was $59. We earned $59 an hour. February, 24, March, 114 an hour, April, 37, and so on down the list for 24. And then in 25, given the number of hours we devoted to those 4 categories, you can see that we've been compensated pretty generously. Then I averaged the 19 months. And so I added all these up, January through December 24, January through July of 25, came up with $1,510 divided by 19 months. For those 19 months, we earned on average $79.47 per hour spent.
Did you forget to leave off like the amount of phone calls and emails and
Okay,
time that we?
I'm
Just
gonna
let her,
get to that.
let's let her finish and then
No,
you got done, okay.
that is, I recognize that. If you look above, at the end of all the months, and you see, under July, during the 19 months, there were 9 special sessions. 6 were well under 1 hour, 2 were slightly over an hour, and 1 was slightly over 2 hours. So when I look at that we are earning $79.47 average compensation over 19 months, I feel, and this is my last bullet, this is more than adequate to cover regular and special sessions, constituent work, and optional meetings, because we all approach our job differently. How much time we put in with constituents, and the meetings that we can attend. So I believe that there is a big cushion with $79.47 an hour to cover constituent work, as well as, optional meetings we choose to go to, or we can choose. Those are our choices. We're all different, so it's hard to quantify. So
Okay.
I believe, basically, we are fairly compensated for our duties.
So I appreciate you doing all that. I think you're kind of missing the mark of where we kind of stand on it, though. It's not the compensation. Nobody's here for the compensation. It's the fact that if we do our planning correctly, this current order shouldn't have any bearing on anything, meaning that we don't need special meetings. We've had special meetings for driveways. We've had special meetings for Golf View, which didn't turn out. These are all these special meetings that we're having that don't need to be there. So on this current ordinance, right, it has nothing to do with compensation. It has to do with the fact that if we're gonna have a special meeting, there's gotta be a lot of thought put into it. And I think that us as leaders, it will help us actually kind of plan better down the road, knowing that in order to have a special meeting, it's gonna cost X, Y, and Z. So it's
Okay.
not about the compensation. I think that's an easy thing to kind of turn to. You find it funny, I didn't laugh during your presentation, but that's
Just-
fine.
I'm just smiling.
Yeah,
Okay,
Let me
Right.
say this, Jason. The first special session was with IEDA and Jim Thompson on 4/2 of 24, and that was to help us obtain grants from the state, and then.
what
doing
grants did
our
we get
doc-
out of that?
doing our downtown. I'm just talking about
Yeah, what
topics.
grants did we get out of that?
Let me continue, please.
Okay,
We need a little more decorum in this room. Okay, the next special session was potential purchase of real estate. Then the one on August 14th was to replace the alley near Court Street. Adam Schweers requested that. Then the two in September of '24, on the 16th and 30th, they were potential litigation. So that was something, we couldn't walk away from. 10/21/24, special session again with IEDA. And then the last two in December of '24 were potential real estate purchase or sale for both of those. And then the last one on 5/7 of this year was a memorandum of understanding with a company that we had to meet a deadline for. So those have been the topics for our 9 special sessions. And if it's not about the money, I guess my perspective, and we all have our own, then if it's not about the money, then we shouldn't amend the ordinance. I don't see that saying it's gonna cost our taxpayers $50 every time we have a special meeting, that will necessarily change things, because the topics that come up, to me, have been vital to our governing the city. And sure, things don't always come to fruition, but we need to have that conversation. So thank you.
yeah, keeping decorum in mind, what grants did we get from that meeting?
That's not why I'm here, to talk about what grants we
Well,
got. So-
Okay, but you're talking about the special meetings while we were in the special meeting. What land did we purchase? Another one for grants. What grants did we get?
I don't see the topicality on
So
this.
we're having these
I think
special
what he's
meetings
trying to say
for
is
no
we're having
reason.
special meetings for no reason, when if we had
That-
done better
that they
planning.
did.
If we had done better
we could have
planning,
had them at our regular session.
yeah, we
Okay,
didn't even
that's-
need the special. So when we look at this ordinance, right, if we have all these special meetings and nothing's getting done in these special meetings, cut them out.
Okay,
And this thing says, and if we don't cut them out, it's gonna cost $50. It'll make us all think, do we really need this special meeting? We had a special meeting for, the other one, did we get the Thriving Communities grant on that special meeting?
We did not get
We did
the
not,
Thriving
we did not
Communities
get it.
grant.
So all these special meetings outside of the one, which we can put a clause in there, if it has to do with, I would say put a clause in there. I said at the beginning, for an emergency, meaning there's an absolute emergency, or if there's some kind of legal thing that needs to be done in a certain amount of time, those can be included. But coming in here just to approve something that obviously if we're having a special meeting, it wasn't really planned out to that beginning, and that's all of our faults as a whole. That's my fault, everyone's fault. So we put that in there, that holds us accountable. That holds us accountable to our taxpayers to make sure that when we do have a special meeting, that something's getting done in there and it's extremely productive. Because the list that you have listed off, they were completely unproductive meetings. I don't want to say unproductive meeting, the outcome was not productive. So, thank you.
all right, Jason, so,
I'll make a
I
motion
heard,
to.
just a minute, I heard your motion already, it's
Okay.
actually still there, which is fine.
Okay.
But you mentioned you wanted to put some clauses in to what was presented.
Yes.
So if you're making a motion, you're making a motion without the clauses.
Some of them were in there, I believe.
The only things I added were outside of special, not special meeting, sorry. Outside of strategic planning, which is our meeting in November, and then the normal budgetary meetings, which are in the end of January and February. So outside of those meetings, typically, those would be our only other meetings that aren't necessarily on the scheduled thing. Quite frankly, we try and not have special meetings if we can at all do it. So
I get it.
But yeah, so I think, quite honestly, I think if we have it set like this, or way the ordinance is written, I think you're in a pretty good shape for what you're shooting for.
Yeah, you would agree with the way that it is? You've been doing this for
Well,
a
I
while.
wrote
and
it,
all about
so,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, okay.
So you're okay with keeping your motion? You've made the motion, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Is
that's
that
the motion.
to approve the first
That's the
reading?
motion.
First reading.
Right.
Could we add a clause in there for an emergency? There's got to be some type of clause. I don't know. The north side, the water tower explodes, and we have to come in here and that. I mean, extreme case scenarios.
Well, I think
Then-
we, after, the people who, our policies are written such that who can call for meetings. And
Okay.
unless you want, that's probably what you would change, if you wanna change, like, who would call for meetings, or have a special meeting, which is just up setting the compensation. So if that's considered a special meeting, then yes, you would get paid for that under this.
Oh, right, that's true. So
As opposed to defining what all the special meeting types are.
Yeah, okay.
the ones
through your
that, so the
policies.
exclusions he has in there would,
Right,
would fit.
would fall
What is-
under the regular, your normal monthly compensation.
I guess
All right.
trying to define, and I'd have to let the attorney do it, but trying to define that to make it narrow enough that it's,
If you think this is
Legible
good,
or
because I think you
understandable.
get what I'm trying to do.
Yep.
And so if you think that this is suffice, and Dave, I assume that you think it's suffice of what we're ultimately trying to do, I guess over here, if that is the verbiage that we use, then
Yeah, I think that's appropriate.
my motion will stand.
All right, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was by Jason, second was by Tom. And roll call, please.
And just a reminder, this is to approve the
First reading.
of what's presented
Right.
tonight. Seaman,
No,
Atherton,
Yes.
Bordenero,
Yes.
Bauer,
No.
Schreck. Yes.
Four.
You need four.
Need four. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay, so
All right, so we'll stay with the status quo for now then. All right, we'll move on to Carroll City Ordinance, Chapter 65, Amendment Stop Sign on Vine and 11th Street. And Randy.
actually,
Did you
unless you want to talk about it, I'll be happy to do it.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Um,
okay, I thought,
Yeah, because Brad wrote the ordinance.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
It was requested by council members to write an ordinance for the southbound intersection of Vine and 11th Street, because that's the south side of that street is actually the entrance to the aquatic center. So we've already placed a stop sign going northbound out of the aquatic center, but they still felt that it would be appropriate to put a stop sign on the north side of that intersection on Vine Street going to 11th Street. And that's what you have, adding that stop sign to our city ordinance.
I'm gonna ask you, Randy, it is typical, or either one of you can comment on this. You would always have a stop sign going both ways in most cases. Like, if there's a stop sign coming from one way, is there almost always one the other way?
That would likely be the case on public streets.
Okay,
Now, the northbound coming out of the parking lot it's not a public street, it's a parking lot.
correct.
And we sign some parking lot exits by code. You're supposed to stop at, when you exit a parking lot onto a public street, whether it's signed or not. So, out of apparent disregard, we did put a stop sign up under the authority of the current code for that parking lot exit.
All right. Well, with that, is there any other discussion?
I guess it's been our pattern that, I'm referring to Randy's July 18th, 2025 email to all of us about the standards for the Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices for Streets and Highways. And in other situations, we consider the standards, the police department gathers the data, et cetera, and this crossing, this is a very quiet area. I've gone there several times, sat there today for 15 minutes, and not a single car went on 11th Street on that block. I was sitting at the stop sign in the parking lot, and so it's very quiet. And then I looked at the data gathered by the police department as summarized by Randy in July 18th, and the traffic volume, the sight distance, it doesn't meet the standards. And I notice with the traffic volume, it's mentioned that approximately 770 vehicles per day they get 770 per day in that area compared to the standard of 6,000 vehicles per day per guidance. That is only 13% of what is required to meet the standard according to Randy's email. So I think there are other areas that in similar situations that I don't see that there's a big problem because of there are houses only on the north side. It's a short block. There's hardly any traffic. So I think, and lack of accidents, no vehicle crashes in the past 5 years, et cetera. You all got this, you read it.
Chad, what was our pool usage this year by children?
I don't have the official data yet. I'll give you a kind of a month breakdown, but it's probably our second busiest year in the last decade that we've had.
How many kids walk there on foot or bike or scooter or?
Quite a few.
How many kids are in there on average on a day? Just ballpark.
July would be our busier time, probably kids alone, 100 to 200 range.
Ooh. Okay.
Daily attendance is probably between 300 and 400.
Okay.
Are they
And the stop
usually
sign that we're
walking?
talking about leads from Vine.
Quite a few of them are.
They walk.
It's okay for her to cut.
And so.
Did we
you're-
finish decorum? We were trying to.
All right,
Yeah.
you're gonna finish your statement, and then whatever you have will be next. Go ahead, are you
I
done?
just want, I'm glad you were checking with Chad. I just wanted to ask him how the kids were getting.
Okay,
You know, the stop sign is right there, as Randy said, in the parking lot facing north. And I just wondered how they were traveling to get to the aquatic center, if they were mainly walking, biking, scooters, everything.
you have an opinion, Chad? What do you think?
Where are you
Especially
seeing
when
it?
it first opens,
Yeah.
it's mainly walkers, bikers, and scooters.
Yeah, so they would utilize the stop sign, you think?
So,
They would,
And you
being
spent,
All right.
close to a public utility like a pool,
at crossing 11th.
I don't have a say in any of this, but I would honestly like to see a stop sign up there. Because we have
Okay.
been reported like some close calls and things like that. People
Okay.
blowing through that intersection.
There,
Well, that's good to know.
okay,
Chad, you probably spend more time with the speed coming through there, through that parking lot. How would you describe that speed?
Usually higher. I mean, our worst area is honestly probably through the parking lot itself. Yep. From basically Vine to 11th. Is that South Vine?
And Chad,
That would be south.
Fine.
Chad, do you feel that a stop sign there would add to the safety of the collection of the amount of kids that are in there?
I would believe so.
Okay, and obviously, it's not a fail-proof plan because people can run through stop signs and stuff like that, but I guess by putting it up there, our hope is that people are consciously, oh, I need to slow down coming through there. Because I've seen it most times where people, I think they try to ramp off that, I mean, they try to ramp down that thing into the stadium, and so. And we also have the softball field down there, correct? We have the stadium down there, is correct?
DMAC, baseball.
So that traffic really increases during softball games, swim meets, and during high school events. So, I mean, it is an extremely high traffic intersection, that maybe when we did this data, I don't know what month it is, would probably be substantially increased during football, softball, and things of that nature. As far as you, have you noticed anything from the police part
We've
that
gotten
people,
sporadic complaints of speed through the parking
Mhm.
lot, right by the pool. We've taken complaints of speeders through DMAX parking lot,
Mhm.
Merchants parking lot. I mean, yeah, it's a busy area.
and do you feel that a stop sign would assist in somewhat slowing, we at least hope, right?
Potentially,
For
yeah. I
For
mean,
the
like-
investment into the stop signs, it's probably would take that gamble.
I mean, like you said, people still have
Yep.
the ability to run a stop sign. We write stop sign tickets
Oh, yeah.
very frequently, but if it's there, hopefully some would view it as a deterrent.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Any other discussion?
I just want to ask Randy, do you know when the traffic volume was conducted to get the 770 versus the threshold of 6,000?
That was in the end of June and the first part of July.
Okay, thank you.
How do you get that traffic count? Is it, with the,
The speed indicators
Speed,
that the
okay.
PD has also registers vehicle counts.
okay, thank
And
you.
that wouldn't register any foot traffic, i.e. the 100 kids that are coming on bikes, walking, and scooters.
No,
Would you say that the increase would be higher during school activities, people going in and out of there during football season or softball season?
no way of knowing. We don't have counts on that.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's nothing else, I'll seek a motion approving the first hearing of the ordinance change, approving the amendment to chapter 65.02, subsection 97 of the City of Carroll ordinance. Is there a motion? By Tom, JJ seconded, and a roll call vote, please.
Bordenero?
Yes.
Shrek?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay. We will move on to resolutions. And fiscal year 2024-25 year-end transfers resolution, and Laura.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So before you tonight is our typical or our routine year-end transfers resolution. The reason why we would have to do this is there are a number, or the state code requires us in a number of cases to receipt in special revenue into its own special revenue account or fund, and then from there you can transfer the funds out to cover eligible expenses. For example, the one that we use every year is for our employee benefits. We have to receive that into a special revenue fund, and then from there we can transfer it out to cover our employee benefits out of the general fund and the road use tax fund. Also included with your information was a projection of our ending balances after these transfers would be applied and where our ending balances are projected to be. Some of the main difference, why there could be a difference from what we're ending now to what we had projected to end when we had prepared our fiscal 26 budget, is a number of projects maybe weren't done at the end of June that we maybe are anticipating to have been completed. So the projects could be in the middle, and so we're planning on spending those funds in the next fiscal year. I'm not planning on going through each one of these transfers, however, if you do have any questions, we can certainly discuss any one of them. As a reminder, these were all items that were included in our re-estimated 25 information when we were preparing our 26 budget.
So are these all on approved items then? Is that
They were
correct?
part of our budget discussion.
Discussion,
Yes.
okay. All right, any discussion on this?
I have a couple questions. I received quite a few emails and calls on this. The 977, I know that we talked about it, after the 977 was, after talking to you, I just wanna make sure that 977 is going, it's sitting there at the digester, and then it will be moved to the northwest pressure zone to cause those water rates to go down.
So let me take a step back from that. When we first did the digester budget or cost estimates, we had cash revenue from the sewer plant that was gonna go towards the digester plant or project. When we got to December and we had to have a project for the ARPA funds, which is the 977, we had to obligate the ARPA funds to a project that was under contract. So those funds went into the funding stage of the digester. What that did create then is that then we have excess funds in the sewer plant that now we don't have an intent at this time to use. So in order to, down the road, our intent is to, when we get to the point of asking for the financing package of the Northwest Pressure Zone, we will transfer funds from the sewer plant to the water project to maintain that projected increases to the water rates.
So when we did the numbers of the water rates, we included that 977 in there.
Correct.
Okay, so that 977 will sit there, the water plant, it will move
Yes.
to the Northwest
We
Pressure
will have to have a motion from council to approve the
Allocating of those extra funds.
yes, allocating of excess funds in the future. And we're not doing it yet just because we want to know what the final bid numbers are, and so that we have a overall idea what has to happen or what the costs are going to be.
Yeah, and when I talked to Mike, I saw their concern, what we said that was going there, and then it ended up there, so thanks for that clarification. The next one is the $112,000 and what is the other one for CAT, where is it at?
Capital expenditures line item.
The 80.
Which numbers?
What number is
It-
it? Kind of
it's on the,
the three X's, so you got the 112,851, and you got the $80,000. So that totals out at what, 192, right?
So the 80,000 that you're talking about, those ARPA funds, those are ARPA funds that are there to pay the remaining, housing incentives that are currently under contract.
Why is it under, that $80,000 has three X's on it? It says federal, state funding, three X's.
Oh,
You
I'm
go down
sorry,
there.
that's a mistake, yeah, you can,
Expenditures
yeah,
released
that shouldn't have the 3 X's.
to Ziegler.
Yeah,
your area.
no, cross off those 3 X's, that was my mistake, I didn't take those out.
Okay,
Yeah, so that is not, anything to do with the Ziegler project.
okay, then the 112 on the Ziegler project is to pay for engineering, I believe?
correct,
Originally.
that's what it, well,
What we've already paid.
that's what we've already paid for design work and water and sewer from the agreement that we signed with Snyder back in 24, December of 24?
Okay, but they have since turned away from that original. Or I guess like, my concern is that we spent the 112, right? And then they came back and said, well, we're gonna change, we're gonna do whatever we're gonna do, right? So did we just eat that 112?
If they, I can't tell you what they're going to do. I don't know that yet. But basically what we will do, or the plan will be, is to, on top of funding the actual work, we would then go back and get those funds through the urban renewal area TIF dollars from Ziegler Caterpillar.
In this next negotiation that changes, are we going to do engineering again?
No, the engineering's done.
Okay, so the engineering will not change on the size or of the building, I guess.
No, because the water and sewer have to be sized to a certain amount for their usage and then possible
Okay,
going past that.
yeah, I just wanna make sure that 112 doesn't just, now we go into new negotiations.
Yep, no,
It's
we're
like,
not
oh,
redoing engineering,
The
no.
people of Carroll ate 112, you know what I mean?
No.
So whatever they de-size their project to needs to reflect that 112 kind of, or if they increase, if they increase it, I guess they have the option to do whatever they want. And then is there any timeline, like ballpark on when this, without giving away, too much?
I would say conversations with him have increased here recently.
Okay.
And so I'm anticipating getting a reply back to a new development agreement, which then we'll have Allers and Cooney, which is Nathan Overberg, our TIF attorney, review that. And then that's when we will bring it to the council to review and discuss.
Okay. All right. those are the big two transfers that I just saw in there, so thank you guys for clarifying.
Anything else? All right, if nothing else, I'd look for a motion to approve the attached resolution, which we've seen, authorizing the fiscal year 2024-25 transfers. Is there a motion? I didn't catch who.
Second.
Tom, you made the motion, Jason seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Shrek? Yes. Bauer?
Yes.
Atherton?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Motion's approved.
All right, we'll move on to reports. Roof replacement projects, change order number 1. And how about this time, Randy? Can you do it this time?
I can take this one.
Thank you.
Following the award of the roof replacement projects contract, the Airport Commission did review the need for replacement of ceiling insulation in 3 of their buildings. They did decide that a replacement in 2 buildings was needed. And for those 2 buildings are the main shop hangar and then their west maintenance garage. Cost for those 2 have been included in your memorandum, a total of $30,806.75. So we've prepared the change order to include that into the contract and get the ceiling insulated in those 2 buildings.
Did we take that out, did they take that out for bid, or is it just?
No, that was negotiated with the successful bidder. It's a change order to his contract.
So are we paying more than the actual bid from this guy because they wanted new insulation? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah,
Or it needed replaced?
the contract would be increased. Yeah, it needed to be
Did
replaced.
we at least look out to see if it would be cheaper?
No. No, this was negotiated with the low bidder.
But I guess,
Yeah,
how do you
standard change
negotiate-
order
how do you
practice.
negotiate a price if you don't look outside and at least get one other, as it should cost? I mean, right? That's part of negotiation, you know what something should cost from an outside person.
I don't disagree. I mean, the scope of the
Yeah.
first project was there. The second part, an additional 30,000. Why wasn't that bid out?
They hadn't reviewed it at the time of the contract.
So once they found it out though, why didn't they go and call someone and be like, hey, how much would it cost to put?
Randy, is this
They're-
covered by insurance? This part covered by insurance?
The $8,683.19 likely will not be. We will be submitting the 22-123-56, and based on conversations, it may be. It's not completed yet, so it hasn't been submitted yet to insurance.
I mean, if I recall right, the next lowest bidder was $70-some thousand higher, and then the one after that was $100-some thousand more.
Yep.
But that was for everything. Now we just need a specialized, I mean, we owe it to ourselves to at least look to see.
Yeah, I don't think that could have been coordinated, 2 contractors on that one project, because one was replacing the roof, and the insulation is ceiling insulation right under the roof.
Yeah, but if they go in and replace the roof, and then we look to see how much it costs, we should know how much it costs to put in insulation.
And that's the
From this guy,
number. Yeah.
but how do we negotiate that price if we didn't even look to see what it costs for somebody to put insulation?
It's,
Just took his word?
yes.
If we don't do it now, and they put that roof on, are
but-
our hands tied here with not being able to put the insulation in?
It would be on the main shop hangar.
This is like
That-
batting insulation that you roll out and then put the tin over top of it.
Yeah,
So then you're ripping the roof off, putting tin back down.
yep. It would be, because the main shop hangar, the insulation is being torn up, sticking to the roof, the underside of the roof.
The other part would be mobilization. If we had another company do it, we would have to essentially charge a mobilization fee to them plus the work, and we're already paying mobilization to the company that's already there.
Do you find this in your experience, to be a reasonable price for this, or an expected price, I'll say, not reasonable, but an anticipated price for this type of work? Or is this inflated.
We have not done much bidding of insulation on its own. You know, any insulation projects have been with a building project. So it's not separated out. We don't have a history of costs on that.
Randy, what's the square footage of that building?
I don't have that right now. Yeah, I don't have those dimensions with me right now. But the contractor was the low bid contractor, so it's standard and customary practice to turn to him to say, okay, what kind of a price would you get for this extra work? And we do it on all of our contracts for whenever work is needed to be done.
And I'm not against them doing it, I just think that we owe it to ourselves to see what it would cost to put in this, you know what I mean? I just,
The only thing that catches me, that makes me think against it is they beat the other bids by $70,000 without this, right? So even if this were in there, you would assume the other contractors would have been even higher than 70,000, or would have also included this and been higher. All of these bidders would have raised it, and I understand that we don't know how much it would be.
I've noticed this with these bids is we take these low bids and we get change order after change order. Tom talks about it all the time, and we keep on. And now we're putting in a change order, and we haven't even looked to see what it costs to put the insurance in. We're just, you know, like, I mean, I trust my wife, my kids, and the guy upstairs, you know? I mean.
Have they started on this roof yet?
The $8,600 one is complete. The other one, they began tearing it off today.
So we know we're not gonna get insurance
No.
on that one.
On the other $22,000 one, the one they started today, they're tearing insulation off as they take the steel off. So there's basically not a way to separate those two jobs. I mean, the insulation is coming up with the steel.
Why do we
What do you
start
do
a
with that?
job without approval?
That's not unusual. It's something the airport commission wanted done. It was the timely way to do it.
It's not unusual to start a project
What?
that doesn't have approval?
Yeah, no, the project's approved, which is
Project's approved.
replacing the roof. They're pulling the roof off, which is pulling the insulation out at the same time. So,
So we don't even have time to see what installation costs.
No, not at this point.
it's part of the project at this point.
So what happens if we voted this down? No, then what would happen? We'd have a hangar with no roof.
No insulation.
There would probably be no insulation,
Randy, is that a building you can do spray foam in?
yeah. I don't believe it is, not on that. This main shop hangar, that is a critical building at the airport. And it has to be insulated, re-insulated. The other one, the insulation was damaged from previous leaks. It had to be replaced. I mean, it just
That's the
did.
part you think is gonna be covered by insurance.
No, the first one not. That's the reason the insurance company wouldn't do it, wouldn't cover it based on verbal conversation, because it was damaged by previous leaks.
So have you gone out and looked at it?
Mhm.
Did you go out and look at it, Aaron?
I did not.
So your opinion is we need to do this in order to get the,
Yeah, we do. It's, for the first one, the insulation was damaged. Okay, and we're taking the roof off. So it's needed to be replaced, so we replaced it. The second one, the insulation is coming off with the steel, so it's gotta be replaced.
I guess my
With the
question is,
steel.
why are we even voting on this if they already made a decision and got it done?
It's a change in the contract.
Yeah, but
Same as a change order.
I-
It's no different than any other.
how many people have the ability to change these contracts, I guess? Is it like, can I change a contract? Can Tom?
There are ways to handle change orders, and we can handle them any way that you desire. Historically, the council has given us the flexibility to initiate work that has to be done. and then bring it for a change order. The alternative is, we can say, this work has to be done in this contract. Okay, fine. Stop work until the next council meeting. Don't do any more work. Stop it until the next council meeting. And that certainly, we can do that.
And that could have been done today, knowing that we had a council meeting this evening, and you said the work on this just started today?
The first one was done 2 weeks ago.
Randy, so on this insulation, it needs to be replaced. So whether they bought it or not, can we go back to them and say, we're gonna do this, but we wanna purchase this ourselves from a local lumberyard? Can we do that?
It's already been purchased.
By this contractor.
I don't know what the square footage is. I just did one of these roofs, which is 5,600 square feet, and it cost me 10 grand for insulation. So that's what got me burning a little bit. I'm okay spending a little bit more money if it's going local, especially on this roof project, on what we've all experienced on that. But
That's where you're going where I'm going, Kyle. Like, this is,
I think we tell them to return their insulation and we buy it from a local lumberyard.
and let's not, it needs to be, we cannot start change orders unless it's approved. Like,
We can do
seems
that.
counterproductive to even get a change order after it's already done.
We can do that. But you'll delay all your construction projects. You'll shut it down for 2 weeks until the next council meeting.
Okay,
Then maybe there's gotta be a smaller dollar
a
number or
smaller dollar
something.
amount, here's the thing, if it slows it down for 12 hours, like, common sense would say, hey, let me get this change order approved, we have a council meeting tomorrow. I mean, we're 3 weeks out for our next council meeting, right? And it's not that much money, then I get, you know what I mean? I get the fact that, but literally, this thing was torn off yesterday when we had a meeting today.
Except you can't, unless it's on the agenda, you can't add things to the agenda a day before to make a decision. You have to have it posted for 24 hours. So if we have to have something, a change to the agenda, we have to post it 24 hours, we have to have all the information and have that to you.
I wish
So-
that you had said that you had looked at somebody else too, just to see the cost differential. Like, that's what really is killing me, is like, it's just like, this guy said it's gonna cost 30 grand, so we said, yep. So,
I think the hardest part for me is I think at least 4 of us took a lot of heat over not making this project more well-known to the public before we took bids on this. And now we're approving a $30,000 change order and can't even guarantee that the products were bought here.
but we don't even know how much it really costs, if that's just a number that he came up with, because nobody did the legwork to figure it out. So I'm good, I guess we can vote or whatever.
If we don't, what happens? If we don't approve this?
Well, obviously, you wouldn't have insulation on the main shop hangar. And then the contractor would probably come back to try to get paid for the insulation that's been put in the west maintenance building.
So we can tell them just to hold off on this at this point, on this.
I don't know as you'd want to do that with that main shop hangar, as critical a building as that is. When they pull the steel off and they pull insulation with it, insulation has to be put back down. I mean, that's their main building.
How much of this roof do they have off?
They've started taking it off as of today. They've got several panels they've removed, and they have to replace it the same day so that it doesn't get wet.
So nothing could leak in there this evening. If it rains, it's covered.
Yeah, it is.
And is this company, is this their first job? Is this their first job
First job,
for replacing the roof? That they wouldn't have known that the insulation will tear up with it?
Oh, no, there's no way to know that. We looked at it prior during the design work, and the way that roof or building is constructed, we didn't know, couldn't determine whether that insulation would be torn off with the steel until today.
We didn't have any other buildings have this happen or any that are made the same or
No.
similar to?
No, not out there. There's only 3 buildings that are insulated out there that are in the contract. And the other 2 were a different situation. This main shop hangar is a kind of a unique situation at the airport.
So this isn't covered by insurance, so theoretically, we could actually go out to bid and get this thing done for cheaper. Could, possible.
I don't know that. I don't know
But is
if you
there,
could
there's a
or not.
possibility?
I don't think you could get a contractor in to put insulation in the main shop hangar. That insulation is practically integral with the steel.
So this is the only company that can do this project?
No, all the bidders that we had
Not all the bidders.
initially could have done the work. They were not the low bidder, though.
So they could have ran into the same situation to where they put a change order in for this insulation.
Of course.
too.
That's
I
what they
mean,
would have done. Anybody would have.
Regardless,
We did-
if they'd put if we took one of their bids, it'd still be higher, it'd still have a change order.
Right. We didn't put in re-insulating the buildings in the original bid because the commission didn't know at the time that they would need to be. Now, they looked at 3 buildings, 2 of them needed to be after the roof was torn off. So one was done. This one is under, the main shop hangar is under construction right now. So we wouldn't have bid it regardless of who the low bidder was. It would have been a change order. And it wasn't a change order for all 3 buildings. Should we have bid all 3 buildings, put insulation in whether it needed it or not? No. We waited until we uncovered it to make that determination.
How old is that building, Randy?
Oh, that I am not sure.
I asked, and I talked to a couple commissioners. They said the insulation is 50 years old and that it's been damaged because of moisture over time, and figured that it would be damaged even more as the roof came off. I don't know.
So Randy, I have one more question too. Also, I look at the Airport Commission meeting. They knew this July 14th because they placed it on their agenda for the August 11th meeting of roof repairs. So they knew about this. This didn't like come up like yesterday or anything.
No.
This simply could have been like, hey, we have a council meeting in one day. So we went through this whole process and they just opted to approve it with not even. I'm reading that correct, right? Like Monday, July 14th, it's on their agenda.
Okay.
Discussing the roof was, you mean, the repairs?
Yeah, they knew it, obviously,
It
before the
says
July 14th,
Their
they knew
meeting
that it
minutes
was
say
done.
roof repairs.
So this also, when was our last meeting? 2 weeks
July,
ago, right?
the end
July
of
27th.
July,
Yeah.
28th.
28.
28.
So we went through an entire meeting where we could have brought this up and it wasn't even brought up of this change order. We waited to bring this change order once the roof started coming off.
The change, actually, it was on the agenda before the roof started coming off, but it started coming off today.
When did they start the repairs to the roof out there? Just,
Today.
no, because they said there's already a building done.
Well,
When did that start?
they've been working at the airport for practically a month. But they've been working on the hangar buildings that are not insulated. And then they finished 2 of the buildings that were insulated, and this is the last building at the airport.
So when
that
did they
they'd be
start
working.
the other one that needed to be insulated as well?
I'd have to look to make sure, but it was probably a couple weeks ago, after the decision of the airport commission.
So then they knew at that point that they needed the insulation, cause obviously they've already got it ordered and bought.
Yeah,
So they knew at least minimum 2.5 weeks ago that this was
Prob-
gonna be necessary
probably roughly, yeah,
before our last meeting.
yeah.
Is that normal to do? Like you know something and then you just carry it over a meeting and then you just slam it down today?
No, it's, I mean, we bring them when we can to the council table. We knew that it needed to be done, so we proceeded with the work. If the council wants it the other way, we'll do it the other way. But what'll happen, we'll send contractors home and say, stop work, we're
Well, in this
waiting.
case, nobody would have gone home. We would approve this on the 20, what was the date on that other one?
28th.
We would approve this on the 28th and they would have been fine, dandy and everything. Or they could have pushed this one day and it would have been approved today, but we didn't want to do that.
It's when we brought it, we proceeded with the work that needed to be done. I think that's long-term probably has worked out with past councils.
I guess past council may not have looked at it then, because we're
They're-
approving something, I don't know, but that's just, it comes off almost shady. Like, why would this thing go this whole thing? And I don't know if it's when you got delivered the news, but this thing is carried out for 3 weeks and now the roof's off and now you want us to approve it. But we can just vote. I mean, I'm beating a dead horse here.
I don't think you are. I mean, in all honesty, I hate change orders, I'll tell you up front. They're not fun. They're not happy to look at and say, yes, spend the money. But what doesn't happen in lieu of all these projects that we have, and we go out and spend $5 million, and all of a sudden it's another $1.5 million to get it done. Nothing comes out of next year's budget to say, well, look, your budget was $5 million, now you're down to 3.5 because you spent an extra $1.5 million last year. It just continues to roll and things don't get done right. But like right now, we're too far in. So just vote and let's get her done.
Do you wanna make the motion then?
Yep, so moved.
So moved. Is there a second? Is there a second to approve this change order?
Second.
Second by Carolyn?
Can I say
Maybe.
one thing?
Yeah, sure.
I understand change orders are frustrating. I get it. But you have one of the most professional engineers in the state that tries to get you the information as timely as possible. So I understand that it's frustrating, but our city engineer is one of the best in the state, and he's not trying to screw the city out of tax dollars or do anything that is inappropriate. And so I just want you to understand, he has a lot of faith from me, and it's not that things we're trying to get done under the table. Our staff does an impeccable job, and it frustrates me a little bit to have their integrity questioned. So just understand, we're doing the best we can in a timely manner to make sure we get things done responsibly per our tax dollars.
So we're gonna, I don't think that you got the information in a timely manner. I think that Randy did what he was supposed to do. I truly do. I think when Randy got the information, what I'm trying to figure out is who sat on this information, you know what I mean, Aaron, to get to him. Like,
And I can't answer that.
It was.
I guess, when did you receive the roof information?
That they wanted to replace the roof after their meeting, following July 14th, is that when they decided? Following that, they advised us that they wanted to replace the insulation on those two roofs.
And then when did you get the quote or whatever it was, the estimate?
The contractor got back, fairly quickly after that time. First got back to the airport commission, they forwarded it to me.
We do have a
Good.
motion
Yep.
in a second.
So we had a motion by Tom, second by Carolyn. Roll call vote, please.
Seaman,
Yes.
Bornero,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Shrek,
Yes.
Atherton.
No.
Motion is approved.
All right. We'll move on to, well, committee reports. We've already looked at some of those. Comments from the mayor. I have none this evening. How about from city council? And from the city manager,
I have none tonight.
motion to
Motion to
adjourn
adjourn.
by Tom, Jason seconded. We're adjourned.
Oh, roll call.
Oh, excuse me.
Shrek?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Appleton?
Yes.
We are adjourned.